right, guys, welcome back to another New Legacy podcast. We are in D-Land, in the area vicinity of Orlando, Florida, and we're at the Big Bone Bulldog Farm with my man right here, David Brown, Big Bone Bulldog owner, and had one hell of a content day today.
Yeah, it's been an exhausting day.
Yeah, and we're going to give you guys the podcast to wrap up the show for today, and the background and story of David and how he started the Big Bone Bulldogs. So, introduce yourself, David.
My name's David Brown, born and raised in Florida. Been a bulldog owner my whole life. And about 7 years ago is when I started on my journey of breeding better bulldogs.
Mm-hmm. And what was the backstory behind it?
So the backstory, when I came across, the first time I was introduced to a bulldog was I was working at a marina in Florida, in the Florida heat, hot, hard days, hard job. And one of the marina attendants brought his bulldog to work with him all the time. So whenever I went to this marina, I always got greeted by this bulldog, and it was just the funniest looking. It was so ugly, it was cute. You know what I mean? It was just this goofy, big personality dog that it didn't matter how hard of a day I was having. It put a smile on my face and got me through the day. And that's when I decided I needed one of my own.
Wow.
And they're an expensive breed. I like to say all the time now, good bulldogs ain't cheap, and cheap bulldogs ain't good. And I found that out the hard way. I went the cheap route for my first bulldog, and I paid for it, emotionally and financially. Spent much more money on medical bills than I ever spent on the dog in the first place. And it just was rough seeing your dog suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And through that experience is what fueled me to do better, because this dog was clearly poorly bred. Everything starts with the way you breed the dog and the genetics, the parents that the dog comes from. So I decided I wanted to change things and better the breed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led me down to this mission. And that's how I'm here today. Now in DeLand, like I said, I grew up in Florida, Tampa, Clearwater area.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple years ago, when I really realized I'm into this for the long run, is when I wanted to get more land for my dogs. And that's what brought me out here to DeLand, a more rural area, where I was able to get me a couple acres and build my dream kennel.
Wow. So, before we, go on with the Bulldog Farms, tell us your journey. Where did you come from? Where were you born? What were you like, growing up? What type of person you were in high school? A little bit of that. A little bit of background of David.
Background, David. So I've always been a social guy, but never really hung out in big cliques, if that makes sense. Kind of more like a lone wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I like to stick by myself, but I like to go into new experiences by myself, not always kind of rolling with a big friend group or nothing like that. And, I used to travel a lot, and I definitely lived a different life than I do now. Having all these dogs, there is no traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a one-man show. So a lot of breeding programs are family programs, or mostly family, or kennel partners. But I do this all by myself. And it's truly a lifestyle. So before, I was kind of living that travel lifestyle, party lifestyle, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got into the dogs, that all changed. There's no more partying, no more traveling, and I've just fully committed myself to these dogs. It's a 24/7 job that I never get to clock out of. If I got puppies, I'm feeding every 2 to 3 hours. I might randomly hear a puppy scream in the middle of the night and have to address an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never on my own time schedule.
Yeah.
I'm on my girls' time schedule when they go into heat, or when my clients' dogs go into heat that are using me for stud service, or I'm just never on my own time schedule anymore. I'm completely committed to these dogs, and I'm on their schedule. They tell me what to do, and I do it.
What's heat?
Heat. So when they're in season, when they start bleeding, and that's when you're able to breed them. So when they go into heat, it's about a 3-week process.
Mm-hmm.
First week, not much is going on during that first week. And then in the second week is when the hormone levels start rising. I do hormone testing on my dogs to find that peak fertility range, and then that's when you do your breeding.
Wow. What are some steps, like how did you get started with the Bulldog farm business?
I bought one dog and went from there. I bought a female. I spent a lot of money on her because I knew I was going to do it the right way. And the way I see breeding is you should only be breeding the best of the best. And like I said before, I learned the hard way about bulldogs, that good bulldogs ain't cheap, and cheap bulldogs ain't good.
What's the average price of a bulldog? Like,
So your standard colors, you're looking at probably 3 to 5K. You get into more of the exotic colors, and you're looking at 5,000 plus. And then with all the DNA that's out there now, if you start stacking certain DNA traits on top of a good structured dog, on top of a good pedigree and good lineage, once you start really stacking these different things, the prices can go up very, very high.
yeah. Can you explain, like, I'm new to the dog scene, especially the bulldog scene.
Yep.
Can you explain to the audience, like, that may not know, like, an introduction to the bulldog scene? Because the more we look into this,
So
I mean, like, some of the dogs are selling for like 100,000.
yeah, when you look at bulldogs, I like to say like it's like a Rolls Royce. A Chihuahua is a Toyota Camry. Bulldogs are Rolls Royces and Ferraris. And just like with the Rolls Royce or Ferrari, you don't want to buy a budget one. You know what I mean? If you see a Rolls Royce on Marketplace for 10K,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Something wrong with it.
What the hell's wrong with it?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense because it just doesn't happen. You're not going to find a good Rolls Royce for a low price. Well, it's the same thing with the Bulldogs. I'm going to say it again. Cheap Bulldogs ain't good, and good Bulldogs ain't cheap. So you don't get one. Don't get one or spend the money. When you purchase a Bulldog, go into it like you're purchasing a luxury car, a high-end car. You're going to want to spend the money up front so you don't spend it on the back end on the medical bills and watch your new companion suffer. Also, it's just like people say it all the time, bulldogs have health issues. Bulldogs have health issues. They are more prone to have more health issues. That is true. But is a Rolls Royce also probably more common to break down, or not? That's probably the wrong way to say it. Doesn't a Rolls Royce need more maintenance? You know what I mean? A Ferrari, doesn't that need more maintenance? So when you're buying a higher end item, dog, sure, they come with more maintenance, and they can have more problems if you don't properly maintain them, or if you bought a bad one from the beginning. So not all bulldogs have health issues. They're just more susceptible to health issues, and that's why you buy a quality bulldog and you maintain it, with supplements or good diet and things like that. And if you do that, you're going to have a great experience with your bulldog.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how much work it took to like do a bulldog farm.
Yeah, man.
So we started today at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah, and it's just like
It's probably 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Past now.
You've been going since then. I didn't know it was that much to take care of. To properly take care of the bulldogs, is a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of cleaning, a lot of I guess enrichment.
Yeah. Yeah. Enrichment, maintenance.
Yeah. And they're aggressive.
They're spicy. Some of the Frenchies. The Frenchies are they're a little more spicy. Yeah.
Yeah. In a playful way.
In a playful way. Exactly.
They're like really low to the ground, but they're very fast. I was shocked.
Yes. very fast. My bulldogs, are very athletic, which is something I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
Because again, that's one of the things that one of the bad things that people think about bulldogs is, they're not athletic. They can't run. They can't walk. They can't breathe right. And that can be true from bad breeding.
Mhm.
But, I've focused on good genetics and breeding healthy, athletic bulldogs
Yeah.
that can jump out of their 4-foot stall.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think you mix like grasshoppers with them or something. They're jumping. They're like,
Or jumping.
yeah, and some of them like I don't know. They're just the color's beautiful, but I don't know. It's like the energy is crazy. Like,
Especially the Frenchies. I breed French bulldogs and English bulldogs.
Mhm.
The English bulldog is a more laid back breed. The French bulldog is a little bit more hyper. I always say like an English bulldog, you don't need a leash. Like
Yeah.
an English bulldog ain't running from you.
Yeah.
And if it does, it's going to run for 10, 15, 20 feet and kind of tire out. Where a Frenchie might run around the block on you.
Yeah, I mean, like I saw like you got the vet coming today. You got the clients, inquiries and business and stuff. But it's like, I mean, for a one man show, you're doing a phenomenal job.
Appreciate that. And I
Yeah.
mean, I would have been even doing more. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even though you saw me do a lot of work today, there's
Yeah.
probably a lot of little things that, I
Yeah.
didn't do today just because we were keeping up with all the content.
Yeah, especially with the babies too. They're so high maintenance.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
and then I don't know, the way I see it, it's like this type of like work is very niche and it's like very specific.
Yeah.
What is your take on like some of the other people that are just pumping out bulldogs and selling it for like cheap?
It's bad. Man, it's bad. And it's like, kind of like what you were saying with the work. It's like, okay, I'm a dog breeder. But what's that mean? That means I'm a photographer. That means I'm a marketer. That means I'm a salesman. That means I'm a caretaker.
Yeah.
That means it's like there's so many things that come with being a successful breeder,
Mhm.
that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of got you here, taking some of the weight off my shoulders, because just
Yeah.
capturing content and I always say, taking the pictures of these dogs is sometimes the hardest part of the job.
Oh my god.
I mean, they don't cooperate all the time,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, a lot of skills you have to be a successful dog breeder.
Yeah.
If you want to be hands-on,
Yeah.
which is what I believe in, being hands-on so I can control the quality. There's a lot of breeders, like you just mentioned, a lot of breeders that are just pumping things out, and they're more like investors, I would call them, than breeders.
Yeah.
Because they don't even whelp their own puppies. What is whelping? Whelping is a term we call pretty much like the aftercare of the puppy after it's been born.
Mm.
And with the bulldogs, which is a brachiocephalic breed, the smashed face, the flat face, there's a lot more care that goes into that whelping process. Where, like with my Corsos, I have Cane Corsos also that roam the bulldog farm and protect the bulldog farm, and they kind of act as camp counselors for my bulldogs. It's great. But they have natural birth, and once the puppies are born, mama pretty much handles everything. I check in on them,
Mhm.
but mama handles everything. With the bulldogs, I'm doing C-sections. All
Okay.
responsible bulldog breeders should do C-sections. Can they have natural birth? Yeah, they can have natural birth, but you don't know which ones can and which ones can't. And it's not worth risking your mother or the puppies. So you schedule that C-section and you do a C-section. That's what responsible bulldog breeders do. And so you got the C-section, and then you got the aftercare of the whelping that's more intense because, like I said, the brachiocephalic breed, they're more likely to aspirate, which is when the milk comes up out of the nose. Then that fluid can get back into the lungs, cause aspiration pneumonia. So you got to be right there watching them. If they aspirate, you got to take them off, clear out their airways. Make sure the mom is okay with the puppies, especially if it's a first-time mom. And you got to be a lot more hands-on with the bulldogs than you do any other breed. And the English bulldog specifically is probably the hardest breed to whelp.
Oh wow.
And a lot of these guys are outsourcing that. That's where I
Mm.
was going with that point.
Yeah.
So a lot of these other guys, they're not even doing their own whelping. They're
Mm.
paying someone else to whelp their puppies and stuff like that. So I'm hands-on with everything, and I'm a one-man show, so they keep me very busy.
Yeah, so like I noticed like, there's a cycle you got to do for each stage of, the breeding process, like, from the incubation all the way to the cell. Can
Yeah.
you like give like a little snippet of it so people can understand like the process it goes into?
Like after they're born and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, actually, no. Start at the.
yeah, we'll start at the beginning. So like I
Yeah.
said, your dog goes into heat.
Mhm.
Typically, you're going to see a sign of blood or the vulva is going to swell up. You're going to count out about a week. Then you're going to start your hormone testing, progesterone testing, and you're going to watch that progesterone level rise up until you're in that desired most fertile range.
Mhm.
Then you're going to go ahead and do your breedings, whether it's artificial insemination, trans-cervical insemination, or a surgical insemination. You have different options for different situations.
Mhm.
And so then you're going to do your breeding, and then the pregnancy term is 63 days, 61 to 63 days.
Mhm.
So now you got about another 2 months to keep that mother healthy, keep her on supplements, prenatals. Then you got your puppies being born. After the puppies are born, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, I'm feeding every 2 to 3 hours.
Mm.
So that means getting up in the middle of the night,
Damn.
That's zombie life. It's rough. I feed every 2 to 3 hours for the first 2 to 3 weeks, and my puppies live in the incubator for about the first 2 weeks.
Mm.
After about 2 weeks, now they're stabilizing body temperature, and if I have a good mother, I'll leave them out of the incubator in the whelping box. So we have custom-made whelping boxes for the aftercare, which allows a safe environment for the puppies. They have something, the most unique thing about a whelping box is it has something called pig rails, which is kind of like a little shelf at the bottom where the puppy can kind of hide under and not get squished by the mom in the corner. Because it
Mm.
can be very common for mothers to smother their babies not knowing.
Damn.
So in a whelping box, it's designed in a certain way so that the puppies can't get smothered in the corners.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, it's
I was
intense.
like, oh, why is it like that design earlier? I was like,
Yeah. So, they're in the incubator first couple weeks, stabilizing temperature. After about 2 to 3 weeks, once you hit 4 weeks, is now when I start the weaning process of weaning them off the mother's milk
Mhm.
towards hard kibble. So, in that, we do that by creating something called mush, because it looks like mush. It's ground up puppy food with some other additives, pumpkin and some other different stuff I add. And the puppies will eat that for the next couple of weeks. And once the puppies start eating that solid food, a bunch of solid comes out of them. So that's when the mess really starts. The first couple of weeks aren't so messy.
Yeah.
You are stimulating the pups yourself. You have to help stimulate them to go to the bathroom,
Damn.
so they don't get constipated and get all jammed up. And then once they're on the mush, they're really pooping. And then once they hit about that 6-week age, I say that's when they like come alive.
Mm.
That's when like they really are alive. Now they're barking and their personalities are coming out and they're just messing with everything. And it's intense.
Yeah.
It's intense, especially if you have a big litter. Especially a lot of cleaning, and that's one of the most important things is keeping the area hygienic. Hygiene is very important because you're fighting things like Giardia, coccidia, hookworms, all these different parasites that feed off of fecal matter. So, they need a host. So if you have a clean environment, there's no host, there's nothing for it. Hookworms aren't just living on the ground. So it's very important that you keep the area and your hygiene up, keep the area clean. Otherwise, you're going to get sick puppies, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from then you just prep them for sale.
Yeah, and then during that process, you're getting as much pictures and content as you can out to people, and finding clients, finding families for these pets.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes I sell them with breeding rights. Sometimes I just sell them as a pet, meaning they cannot breed the dog. All my dogs are contracted to come back to me for any reason.
Mhm.
If I sell you a dog, you're not allowed to sell him the dog. You
Mhm.
got to contact me. You can, maybe we end up letting him get it, but that's after I get him under contract and I approve him. But most importantly, you as a buyer know not to go take that dog to a shelter. You know, me as the breeder is going to openly take that dog back.
Mhm.
So you hear all this time, adopt, don't shop, and they try to make breeders bad. None of my dogs will ever end up in a shelter, period. You know,
Mhm.
because all my dogs are contracted to come back to me, and I've I have the resources and the
Mhm.
place to take care of every dog I ever breed if I have to.
Yeah,
So I'm not ever worried about any of my puppies ending up in a shelter.
that's good. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. Yeah.
And if you're looking for a puppy, bigbonebulldogs.com, hit me up, fill out a submission form, and I'll get right back to you.
Yeah. Have you, breeding and like creating new puppies and stuff? Have you ever had like any puppies like that didn't make it?
Yeah, every once in a while. And that's why dogs have big litters. Dogs have big litters because just by the nature of the beast, not all of them are going to come out perfect.
Mhm.
And that's even when you breed two healthy dogs.
Mhm.
You can breed two healthy dogs together and still get a puppy that just doesn't make it. There's just something, maybe you keep it alive. I can keep a dog alive for a long time, but if there's something wrong with it, it's just you're gonna hit that point where the dog just doesn't make it, because something's not formed internally or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, to see a dog die is just sad.
It sucks. It sucks. But and that's another thing where a lot of the times your litter will go smooth,
Hmm.
no problems.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people that get into breeding or their friend bred their dog and they had a smooth time.
Yeah.
So now these people think it's easy and they start breeding dogs without gaining all that knowledge.
Hmm.
Where I feel like it would have been different if they saw like, damn, that guy's breeding dogs and puppies are dying. I should probably learn all this before I breed dogs. Instead, some people see that other people have smooth, easy litters, don't gain any knowledge, start breeding, and then something goes wrong. And then
Yeah.
they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then puppies are dying. And it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's sad.
What's the hardest thing, like, in this industry to deal with? Besides, like, like puppies, but like, what are some, like, you know, tough things you have to deal with being in this industry?
Um, finding good homes can be
Mhm.
tougher than you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, just putting them in good homes and just not cutting corners.
Hmm.
Not being like, fuck, I'm tired. I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
No, get your ass out of bed. It's been 2-3 hours. It's time to feed that puppy. Or, it's just not cutting the corner. A lot of things cost a lot of money, a lot of vet care and stuff like that. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just trying to make a buck and save a buck, and they do the shortcuts. And I think most of us know that shortcuts normally aren't shortcuts.
Yeah.
They don't get you where you need to be. They take you down the wrong path. And so it's just being disciplined,
Mhm.
just disciplined and committed.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's a 24/7 job, no clocking out.
Yeah. It's crazy to see like how much work that goes on for breeding a dog, and like just to find a home for like is what are some typical like qualification are you looking for when someone is inquiring for your dog?
Um, so I like families. That's always good, because A, the environment, but B, it's like multiple caretakers
Hmm.
kind of for that dog. So I always like to see the family aspect because I know it's got more than just one person looking out for it.
Hmm.
And It's another thing I'm looking for. Obviously financially, like if they're already like trying to lowball me and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, they don't respect what I've put into the dog and they don't have the budget. Um, it's something normally I'll frown on, where again, a lot of other breeders are just going to get to that point where they're just going to take what they can take,
Mhm.
take take whatever they can give them. And now all of a sudden that dog's in a home where once it starts having issues, that person doesn't have the money to take care of those issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd say that would be one thing.
Yeah. What's your motivation to keep going when times get hard?
I mean, seeing how much joy these puppies do bring to certain families, um, especially like after they've already lost one.
Mm.
People will come in really down and out. You can see it on them, their face. You can just see it in their actions. Sometimes it'll be a while. They'll contact me, and it'll be a while before they're even ready to come look at a dog.
Mhm.
But once they do pick out that dog, and you put that new puppy into their hands, and like you just see them change.
Yeah.
You just see their whole energy change, and they go from this traumatic experience to the next chapter.
Yeah.
You turn the page to the next chapter, and that gives me a lot of joy.
Yeah. It's a new opportunity.
Yeah.
But man, it's. I mean, I'm just shocked. Like I thought it was like easy.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was easy and fun, but I was like, damn, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And like it's loud.
It's loud. Yeah. It's loud. That's why we're not in the kennel right now. It would have been cool to shoot this in the kennel, but man, these they get excited around new people.
Yeah.
If I'm in there by myself, it's not like that. But when new people come around, and it only takes one of them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You get one of them starts getting excited, and it just gets them all going.
Do you show off your dogs? Like, I mean, or like, do you let people come and check them out, or is it like pre-sale only? Do photos, videos?
Yeah, I've been kind of like. I used to kind of be like, no, I don't want people coming here, but I've kind of been more open to that. I just don't like them I don't like them bringing their dog here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind them coming here, but another dog could bring something into my program, so I frown on that. I think it's kind of silly when people like want to meet the dog to see its personality.
Mm-hmm.
A dog's a dog. A puppy's a puppy. Like there's one of them is not because it ran up to you. That puppy didn't choose you. Like like it's silly. Like no, like if you trust in me, you should trust that the dog is going to act how that breed should act.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is going to act. If it's a well-bred dog, it's going to act the way that breed should act. So there's no reason to like. I'm not a pet store. You know what I mean? I'm not PetSmart.
Yeah.
So I don't mind for people to come now more because I want them to see my program.
Yeah.
More not about, I think it's like I said, I think it's silly for them to come and see an exact dog, but I like the fact of having people over to see what goes into the dogs, to see the way I raise them, to see the way they live. And so I've been more open to people coming and seeing the puppies before necessarily making it a deposit or choosing a puppy.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. But I mean, they're so cute and energetic.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
And sometimes the people come and then they're not ready still, They interact a little bit with the puppies. I just had someone here last weekend and I haven't heard from them since. And except for them saying like, we don't think we're quite ready yet.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know what that means, but everybody has their own struggles or their own things they have to deal with. Because if you ask me, the best thing you can do is get another puppy.
Yeah. Get
another puppy as soon as possible, to get over that last one and start building new memories.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And that's kind of like, people say to me all the time, oh man, I couldn't do your job. I'm going to keep them all. Once you've had them, it's different. You know what I mean? Once you've spent your time with them, I'm ready for them to go home. And I knew I got new ones coming.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it with people that lose a dog. Like I get it, mourn a little bit, but the best thing you can do is get another dog.
Mm. It's crazy. It's like yeah. I mean, some people will be overly attached to it,
Yeah.
and I don't know. That's freaking crazy. So like, if you have to boil it down, like what is your mission with this Big Bone Bulldog Farm?
Our mission here at Big Bone Bulldogs is to better the breed. Healthy, athletic, well-tempered bulldogs. Right now in 2025, with bulldogs, Frenchies mostly,
Mm-hmm.
it has gotten crazy with genetics.
Mm.
They're just dumping any kind of new genetics into the breed, looking for a payday, because everyone assumes if it's new, it's rare, and it comes with a higher price tag. When in all reality, it's pretty much a pyramid scheme.
Mm.
And the top breeders that get a hold of those genetics at first, they get some really crazy money. We're talking during COVID, there was dogs selling for up to $400,000, $100,000. And there was multiple dogs selling for 50, 70, 80. When the fluffies came out, the long hair gene.
Yeah.
So when that long hair gene got introduced, they were going for crazy money. And, but the only people buying for those crazy tickets are breeders because they want to make money. So all those dogs got sold to breeders, and all those breeders bred those dogs. So the genetics
Everywhere.
spread fast.
Yeah.
So by the time you're the second or third breeder that got those genetics, everyone has them. It's not rare anymore. And there's really no pet home for these new genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, these are dogs. These are companions.
Yeah.
If there's no pet market, there's no market.
Mm-hmm.
Breeders selling to breeders is just weird.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in the bully community, the exotic bullies. When have you ever, you know what I'm talking about, the exotic bullies, the really short bullies, look like little gargoyles? When have you ever walked in somebody's house and they had one of those as a pet?
That's true.
Never. But boy, there's a lot of breeders breeding them, and I don't know where I swear the exotic bully community is just breeders breeding to breeders. Breeders selling to breeders, breeding to breeders. No one has those dogs as pets. No one.
It's like a pyramid scheme.
No one bought a $100,000 fluffy for pets. Only breeders did. So a lot of these new genetics, new breeders think it's the quick way to make a bag and are buying into it from these top breeders that have clout or have, motion already. So they pay this big ticket thinking other people are going to pay big money to them, but there's no pet home to support it. Mm-hmm. So fluffy Frenchies went from going for 150, 200K to 24 months later, I've seen them as low as a couple $1,000s.
Damn.
I would say the average price should be more around 5 to 10K, 5 to 15K. But dogs that were selling for 300, 400K shot down to $3,000 within like 2 months because they just had to do anything to get rid of them. And the pet market will not pay $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for that dog. You know what I mean? They don't care. They just want a well-bred bulldog. Yeah. Sure, the different people want certain colors. That's the other thing that's going on with Frenchies. It's like handbags for women. It's like, or like sports cars for guys. Like there's so many choices. Yeah. So it's another big reason that the Frenchies are becoming so popular because you can kind of get one in any color that you want.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is doing this business as an entrepreneur? What is your biggest lesson, or a couple of lessons that you want to touch on that I'm sure like some people might be in other industries, but a lot of it's the same. So you got your sales department, you got your fulfillment, you got your marketing department, you got your startup fund, you got your finance. It's all the same concept. But what are some lessons that like you had to learn the hard way that you want to share, and somebody can pick it up and change their lives?
I would say like to do it right, it's got to be a lifestyle change. You've got to commit fully. With breeding dogs, it's truly a lifestyle. It's not just a job. It's a lifestyle. Everything in your life is gonna be affected by your breeding program to do it the right way.
Mhm.
Unless you're just, like I said, an investor who has other people doing this and other people doing that. And if you're doing that, you're gonna spend a lot more money, which then you're gonna have to pass that on to your clients. So now you're kind of charging them for more than they should be charged, because you're outsourcing everything.
Mhm.
And then you're losing the quality control because your hands aren't on it, you're not in control of it.
Yeah.
So I just say I've learned it's truly like a lifestyle, and you gotta know a lot more than just breeding the dogs. And just breeding the dogs is a lot in its own.
Yeah.
Not talking about the sales and the pictures and the content and the marketing and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you've been really successful on YouTube so far. You got tens of thousands of followers on YouTube.
Yeah, I've done good. So
How many do you have on right now?
we're at like 42,000, I think, on YouTube.
Yeah.
About 36,000 on Instagram.
Yeah.
186,000 on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I'm doing pretty good. And I got a lot of that attention by when COVID happened. It fueled a breeder boom, and it was all new breeders. And it was annoying, I ain't gonna lie. It was annoying seeing a lot of these people that aren't committed to it, haven't put in the time and gained the knowledge, because that was big to me. Before I ever started breeding, I wanted to learn what I was doing before doing it. These are live animals,
Mm-hmm.
These are living animals that you're dealing with. It's not just like, oh, one died, big deal.
Yeah.
It's living animals. And these people aren't taking it serious. A lot of people got into breeding without taking it serious. So what was I going to do? Just be bitter, or am I going to help them out?
Yeah.
So I decided to launch the Advanced Breeders Network, breedlikeapro.com. It's a place where you can get all the resources to breed like a pro. And I started educating new breeders on how to be a reputable, responsible breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just learning by scrolling through Facebook and seeing what other idiots are saying in their posts and then trying to figure it out that way. Because unfortunately, that's about how a lot of people learned how to breed.
Yeah.
Scrolling through Facebook groups and just reading what they say or what they do, but having no real concept of how to apply it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just unorganized information.
Yeah. A lot of amateurs that don't take it serious. So instead of getting bitter, I pivoted and spent a lot of my energy on educating these other breeders, so that they could kind of do the same thing I'm doing, and we can all make a better breed together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been a fight. I feel like I'm fighting more than half the people that are destroying the breed. So, I'm trying to do what I can, but I would say in today's market, buying or finding a well-bred bulldog is very challenging. You're going to find more poorly bred bulldogs or get scammed way before you find a good bulldog, a well-bred bulldog.
What are some signs of like a bad breed bulldog?
So you're gonna want to watch the way it moves. They can have a lot of orthopedic or hip issues.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to watch the way it can move. You want to look at the nose,
Mm-hmm.
the nose hole openings called the nares. You want good open nares. If they're pinched, the real pinched nares, it's never good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Go clog up your exhaust on your car and see how it runs. It's probably not going to run that good, right? And it's going to overheat your engine, and now you're going to have engine problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's not just the breathing problems, but now it's going to stress out the heart and all the other organs in the body to work harder, and it's just not good. So you want a good nose that has nice open nares. You want orthopedically to be good, good hips, good patellas and elbows. And you can just look at the dog and kind of be like, that doesn't look right. That's a little longer and skinnier and taller, and the face looked like a Pomeranian. So it should resemble the breed standard when you're looking at it. And then just kind of looking at the breeder. Mm-hmm. Looking at the breeder and the way if you even can, because a lot of these breeders, you won't ever see their face or how their dog lives. They're
Right,
going to
right.
hide all that.
Right.
So, if they're just hiding it, that'll probably tell you a lot. And just the way they're carrying themselves. There's a lot of ghetto breeders, per se. There's a lot of ghetto people in the bulldog industry
Yeah.
that are all about the money. So you already know what that means. They're
Mm-hmm.
cutting corners.
Yep.
Cutting corners.
So, next question for you as an entrepreneur. You keep mentioning that you go to the gym like religiously.
Yeah.
Why?
It's discipline, and it just gets me going in the day. I like to start my day by going to the gym and stacking wins, having that win and just working off of that for the rest of the day.
Yeah. It's like momentum.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And if let's say you like hit the lottery tomorrow, would you still do this?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. This is my passion. This is what I love. I would just hire some help that I would train.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against that. If you have a breeding program and you have help that you've trained or they are trained,
Yeah.
okay. But back to what I was referring to earlier, it's like they'll just know some chick, hey, and they'll pay her a couple $100 to watch puppies, and she'll take on that responsibility just because she just wants to get a couple $100 to take care of puppies. But again, they have no knowledge of what they're doing. And it's very important you do, because when, like I said also earlier, a lot of times things go smooth. But when things go bad, they go bad, and they go bad quick. So if something goes bad, you got to instantly know how to reverse it. What medicine do I got to get on? What techniques do I got to do? What do I got to do? Because time is of the essence. And if you can do that, you can be good. It's all about not panic. I always say preparation prevents panic. If you start panicking, things aren't going to go good. If all of a sudden you have a dog that needs tube fed, but you don't even have a tube feeding kit, what are you going to order it on Amazon and wait 2 days? The dog's going to be dead 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have all your supplies, you got to have your knowledge, you got to have your medicines on hand so that you can attack that problem right away.
You have like a resource for people.
Yeah. I've made relationships with a lot of medical professionals, and I have a good relationship with the vet that you met today, who comes right out here to the Bulldog farm, does my health certificates right here on the property, which is it convenient for me? Yeah. But is it convenient for those puppies? Yeah. They don't have to get put in the car and stressed out going to a clinic. And who else goes to the clinic? Sick dogs. So are you more likely to go find parasites and stuff at your friend's house or at a clinic? You know what I mean? Like, that's where the sick dogs go to. So, like, sure, you want to say that they all keep it clean and they keep it sterile, but at the end of the day, whenever you take your dogs to a clinic, they're at risk of catching something else, even if it's just like a kennel cough or...
Yeah, same for people.
Yeah, so not only is it convenient for me to have my vet come here, but it just makes my program that much more safer, because I'm eliminating risks. I'm not putting my puppies at risk of getting anything.
Yeah. So as we come towards the end of this podcast, can you share some like lessons or some takeaway? Like, let's say if you were, I don't know, let's say you were like to die tomorrow. Like, what are some like, lessons or like something that's like a hit the core for you? Whether it's like with the Big Bone Bulldogs farm or just you as a person, like, what do you want the world to remember you for, or if you care? Like, for me, like in business, I've learned that you got to take the money up front for services. Some people you do the service for and they don't pay.
Right.
Yeah. And that can screw up like your whole business, payroll, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just business. But
yeah.
And well, you can pick, up to you. You can talk one about business, one about personal life, and one about relationship if you want. You can do the three if you want, just both.
I don't know. I mean, it never works out how you would think it does, I guess, with these bulldogs, with dogs. It's just like it's always a curveball. Nothing ever goes as planned. Kind of goes back to what I was just saying about preparation, so you don't panic. Like it doesn't matter how much you think you can be prepared. There's always something new coming around the corner.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to constantly be learning. You got to constantly be getting ahead of the ball, getting ahead of the game. You can't get comfortable thinking you know it all. You got to just constantly be taking in more knowledge and so that you can be the best at what you do. Otherwise, you're going to be playing catch up. It just, the education never stops. There's always something else to learn. And right when you think you've got it figured out, you don't. You don't. I can't tell you how many times it's like I know to do this, this, and this, and this. This is what you're supposed to do. And you do this, this, and this, and this, and you get a different result than you thought you were going to get.
Life is so unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
That's in everything too.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to touch on? Personal life, relationship.
Yeah, I lost all that. Like I said, man, I haven't had much of a personal life for the last, I'd say 5 years or so, because I've just been so into my breeding program, and just getting my program where I want it to be. And that would be like at a point where I can have some trained help, someone I've trained my way to help me out and kind of scale. But the last 5 years, it's been grind.
Yeah.
It's been grind.
Even for me, finding good people to work with is extremely hard.
Very hard.
It's like they're good for like a month.
Yeah.
And then they just fall off.
They don't have it. In this industry, you got to have the passion. Yeah. It can't just be a job. It can't just be the money. Yeah. They got to have that passion. Otherwise, you're going to fold. You're just going to fold when times get hard. So.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to put all his information somewhere over here or link in the description of this video where they could find you.
For sure.
And where they can reach out to you if they want a dog or so.
Yeah, if you're ready to bring a well-bred bulldog into your family and you're not wanting to get scammed, reach out to me. BigBoneBullDogs.com, located in Central Florida. I'd love to answer any of your questions. I'll get right back to you. And when you get a dog from me, you're not just getting a dog. You're not just getting a puppy from me, but you're getting a partner to raise that puppy with. This is my passion, so I don't mind taking those calls. I tell all my clients, I don't care if it's 2 a.m. If you got an issue with that dog and you're worried, call me. Yeah. At least call me first, and then I'll be like, go to the vet, or don't go to the vet. Or go to the vet and say this and say that. Or go to the vet and ask for this and ask for that. But don't just blindly go walk into those vets, because they're going to take you for everything you got. That's a very scammy industry that we could have a whole nother podcast on. Yeah. But if you're looking for a well-bred bulldog and you're looking for someone who's going to give you lifetime support with that bulldog, or if you're looking to be a bulldog breeder and you want mentorship, I do give mentorship if you purchase a full rights dog off of me. So reach out, BigBoneBullDogs.com, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, no, thank you for being a part of this podcast today.
Yeah,
You're
man.
very transparent with the breeding process. We pretty much record everything. And unlike most breeder, you show your face and you want to be in the front line of the breed and
Absolutely.
A champion for it.
I would say that I've positioned myself as an authority in the industry when it comes to reputable breeding practices. So if you're looking to learn how to breed, or if you just want a puppy that's from a professional breeder, there's no better choice than Big Bone Bulldogs. Yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate you for watching the podcast. Subscribe, like, leave a comments. And then share this with a friend or so. But yeah, help us get the message out. Appreciate you guys for watching, and every time. Thank you so much. And thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
For being part of our show today.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey.
Yeah. Flight home in a couple hours.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, guys.